All right. Testing. Testing. Okay, impromptu stream. Impromptu stream. To talk about the leaked rules, so not confirmed rules, but most likely true, most likely proper rules for Valerian and Aleya. So, as everybody knows, this week is the Black Library celebration, and the new book coming out is the second in the series of the Watchers of the Throne series, which is about Custodes and Sisters of Silence, which is the original one was one of the good Custodes books to read if you're into Custodes lore. See Farsight, welcome to my special surprise stream. And with this book release are models for two of the characters, I presume, that are in the book. This custodian HQ called Valerian, that I like to call Christopher Walken, and a Sisters of Silence HQ called Aleya. And apparently these two are a couple. So they go together, they're in the same book, and they're on the same data sheet. So they were going to get 40k rules, of course, and so we were all eagerly awaiting for previews. Now, a leak came out today of the little sheet of paper that you usually get in these isolated boxes. So everybody's been looking at it today and waxing lyrical and being salty about it, and for good reason. If this is in fact true, and there's no reason to suspect that this is fake rules, then that's what we're going to have a quick chat about tonight. Okay, so just to go over it for you in case you have not seen it. So, Valerian, so first of all, these two characters come on the same data sheet, like they're a unit. Okay, here we go. Valerian and Aleya, okay? 10 power HQs, okay? And Valerian is your classic Custodes with all his stats. He does have 6 wounds, and he is armed with his spear, which looks like a normal Guardian spear, but is actually called Gnosis. It shoots like a normal Guardian spear, and it actually has the same combat profile, except it is plus 2 strength, so it's actually strength 7. Okay. And Aleya actually moves 7 inches, and she hits on 2s, ballistic skill is 3s, strength 3, toughness 3 as usual. She has 5 wounds, 4 attacks, and 3 up armor save. And she has a special blade called the Somnus Blade, and she has psycho grenades. And the Somnus Blade, it has no shooting, and basically is strength plus 1. So strength 4, and then minus 3 d3 damage. So their profiles themselves are not particularly anything to write home about. Pretty standard. In terms of the rules for Valerian, so he gets Aegis of the Emperor. So if he's in your detachment, he's going to have a 4-up invuln, which kind of sucks. And then he gets his Feel No Pain of 6+ Immoral. So he gets all that usual stuff. He rerolls hit rolls of 1 within 6 inches like a normal captain. And his little laurel helm is his special thing. And what that allows him to do, all that allows him to do once per game, is reroll a hit roll, a wound roll, or a damage roll. Not even a save roll. So there you go. Once per game. And that is his thing. According to the points value at the end, there's 2 models in this unit, and points per model 188. So he apparently is 188 points, and she is also 188 points by what it says there. Now that may be an error, in which case the proofreading of GW is just great. Again, maybe it's 188 for 2, in which case you might make an argument for it, but right now it is a 372 point unit. to run these two people because you have to take them together. So, speaking of that, so Aleya basically just has a normal Sisters rule. So reroll wound roll against Psychers, and she's an abomination, so you can't target her. And she has no other special rules. And then the other thing is you deploy them together, although they do not need to be in coherency, and then they are separate units. So assuming that you would play these two, you are now paying 372 points for 2 HQs. So she is just a normal Sister of Silence, probably has a few extra attacks, but otherwise pretty standard. And he is just a normal shield captain, basically. And that's it. And no other rules. So, fine. Okay, fine. Special models, cool. If blah, blah, blah. Sure. Then we go down to, okay, so how do we play them? Because one is a Custodes and one is a Sisters, and they're in the same unit. So how does that work? How does that work? Is there a rule here that says I can run them either in Sisters detachments or Custodes detachments, and they don't screw up your factions for Battle-Forged armies? That would seem like a normal thing that you would want these two different faction unit characters that you have to take together to have. But no. If you look at the keywords, the only keyword that they have in common is Imperium, faction keyword. So, and of course you cannot run a detachment of Imperium. So, you can't actually take them. Yeah. So, that's interesting. So, in match play, you cannot take these two. Now, you could argue that this was for narrative and open play because it's two characters from a novel. Sure. But why even write, like it's just kind of pointless, So we can't take them in match play legally. Even if you could, it's 372 points. Even if that was an error and they're actually 188 points for both, there's just no reason to spend 188 points on these two people. There's no rule in there that she allows you to take Sisters or as troops or there's nothing. And, it's just an entire mess up of ridiculous proportions. Now, the one thing that might be interesting is if this somehow meshes in to the Psychic Awakening book, which is coming at some point. In which case, maybe. And so what I think maybe is when this is actually released or the preview is released, maybe tomorrow, because they said later this week there'll be a preview, and people start commenting on the fact that it can't be used in match play, maybe we'll see GW respond in the Facebook comments of just wait and you'll see, or just wait for the book or something like that. That would be useful because then we would get confirmation that we are going to be able to play Sisters and Custodes together and not mess up our faction keywords. So we'll see. I'm very excited for tomorrow to see if that in fact happens. A, if we get that preview, and B, if we see response to comments like that. Because almost certainly once that preview goes up, people are going to comment on it. In fact, I might do that. And so we'll see what they respond to those comments there, because they do respond to comments. So we'll see. And if they can confirm for us that in fact we will be getting the ability to play these two factions together, then that's cool. Now, it's still unclear when our book is coming out, but for now, you cannot use these two characters. I'm still going to buy them and have them because, I'm a Custodes fanboy and I want Custodes models. And if they do get rules whereby they can be used separately in the new Psychic Awakening book, then that's great. But as of right now, we weren't really expecting very much, but it is what it is. So that would be interesting. Now, Psychic Awakening, maybe we'll see that they get separate data sheets, or maybe we'll see a rule that changes the way our detachments work in terms of Talons of the Emperor, and then they can just be an HQ slot. Whether or not they're still worth it, as I said, is another thing, and whether or not they errata that points value is another thing. But as of right now, it's pretty crazy. Psychic Awakening, yes. The next one is the Orcs, which is like next Saturday, and then the one after that is the Question. Everyone thinks it's the Knights and Chaos Knights book, but there's been no indication that that is in fact next. They just announced it at LVO that that was coming, but they never said that is necessarily next. So who knows? The fact that these two HQs have come out now maybe meshes in with our book being next. Who knows? That's just conjecture. But yeah, so it's really interesting to see what happens with that. These two right now are not particularly interesting at all. Is it like the actual War of the Beast or a new lore thing? No, I think that that book series of the Beast Rises or whatever, that was about an alternate storyline in like pre 40K or something, or long in the future or something. It has nothing to do with current sort of 40K fluff. As far as I could tell, I read that series and didn't seem really to have anything to do with anything. Yeah, so that's basically it. Just needed to kind of not rant. I don't think I was too ranty. Just needed to get that out on the air about these two, the leakages that have dropped. And we'll see, and hopefully we're going to get some okay news tomorrow or Friday or definitely Saturday maybe. If we have to wait to the release, we can wait to the release. But yeah, so it doesn't look like we'll be running new HQs in our armies anytime soon. But we'll see if it bodes well for our book. Okay. That was basically it. Just a quick stream on that, and I'll let you guys